Marc Raimondi for ESPN on the UFC Hall of Fame red carpet with this man, UFC legend Georges St-Pierre. A few years ago, George, we were talking about you being inducted, and now several of your peers, some legends, Anderson Silva going in this year, Jose Aldo. Pretty big year for the UFC Hall of Fame, huh?
Yeah, Anderson Silva, Jose Aldo, two GOAT, the greatest of all time. Arguably some like the best. They both can be named the GOAT.
Two peers of yours, and Anderson was the UFC middleweight champion for a long time while you were the UFC welterweight champion. I know that was a fight that a lot of people wanted to see at one point or another. Is that a fight that you wanted to see at one point or another?
Yeah, of course, but the thing is, to make a fight, it takes three entities. It takes each fighter and a promoter, and we didn't get to an agreement, unfortunately.
Speaking of those three entities, fighter, promoter, you're going to be returning.
Yes.
In competition, not MMA though, it's grappling. UFC Fight Pass Invitational, December 14th. Opponent still to be named. Any insight into who that opponent might be?
I received a list. It's hard to know because there's a lot of fighters when they retire. Sometimes they gain a lot of weight or they lose a lot of weight. Some choose a path of life that is not very healthy.
I can relate to one of those things.
So
not that I was a former fighter, right?
We need. I needed to have a list, and I wanna choose a formidable opponent that people want to see me compete against.
You think someone who's in the grappling world right now, someone who maybe was in the UFC at one point?
I believe would be more appropriate to choose someone who was from UFC. Yeah. I believe that's what people will want me to compete. I never did that before. It's going to be a competition that I will go under a different set of rules. Mm-hmm. It's a very specialized form of combat. It's very different than what I've done in the past. But it's going to be a fun journey.
You've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a very long time. Yeah. Of course, Renzo Gracie for a long time in New York. How cool is it that the UFC has embraced grappling, submission grappling, and now it's a big part of what they're offering on Fight Pass?
Yeah, I believe it's a sport, a combat sport that is more accessible to the general population due to the risk of injuries are to a minimum. However, it could be very bad. You could break an arm, break an leg. You can kill someone, But the risk of injuries as a practitioner, someone who does it for fun, are less than someone who does mixed martial art. And therefore, when the UFC had told me that they wanted to promote the sport on the UFC Fight Pass platform, I wanted to be part of it. And it's always fun to train. I train because I'm a martial artist because it makes me a better person. Mm-hmm. But it's also fun to train when you have a challenge ahead.
One last thing, and there's a big card Saturday, UFC 290, but kind of the fight that everyone wants to talk about lately, I think is, I know you know the one that I'm talking about. It's Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
That is the fight of the millennium, of the whatever you want to call it. You had a chance recently to train, I think, in grappling with Elon Musk.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, of course. It was a lot of fun. I admire Elon as an individual for all his accomplishments and all the ideas he stands for. For me, it was an honor. Elon, I gotta say, he's much stronger than the average man. And he's very tough. And he's got a background in judo. We had a lot of fun that night. It was a great experience.
I sense that if he was to get into a training camp, you would want to be the guy helping lead him in that camp.
He has my number. He knows that I told him that if he needs my help, I can make myself available to help him. However, there was a big part of me because I know historically when Elon wants something and he set his goal on something, he's unstoppable. But there's a big part of me that, in the same time, that you have to realize that Elon is no ordinary man. He's extremely busy, and most of his time is dedicated to work on things that can change fate of humanity. And I believe it's way more important. It is too important. And a man like Elon is too precious for humanity to
get into a cage fight?
I think so. I mean, I'm sorry to put a cold shower on you guys, but I could take advantage of it and say, yeah, I'm gonna help him and try to promote it. But I mean, to be honest, with him and with Mr. Zuckerberg and with, I think these two men are above that. But that's my opinion. If they decide to do it, I'm there for him, and he knows him. I told him.
I take it you're going to be more of a Twitter guy than a Threads guy, right? Threads. This is a battle right now.
I'm not good for the talking. I'm good for the doing. If he needs, he knows that. I told him that if he needs my help, I think I can help him. And if he needs, ultimately the decision are theirs. So, but if Elon needs me, I'm gonna make myself available for him.
He knows who to call.
Yes.
George, thank you so much. It's always an honor.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.